Hello, everyone, and welcome to Devils United. This is the preview for Manchester United versus West Ham. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Devils United. With me today, I have got my usual panel of Andy and Chloe. How are you both?
Not too bad. Are we usual now? Okay, it's great to be on again, and always good fun to chat with you, Maisy.
Always great to have you on. And how are you, Chloe?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on again, Maisy.
Brilliant to have you on again, Chloe. Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who's already here of Niall, the Mikel Arteta talk, and Rabbit. I hope you are well. So we have got West Ham coming on Wednesday, postponed game. Travelling all the way down to London as well, which is a bit of a pain to do. But we still got over a week off though afterwards. But before we do touch on the West Ham, I wanted to touch on a little bit regarding the goal what Honor had. It didn't show that it was a goal, but for me, it was way past the line. It should have been counted as a goal. But I'm glad Russo scored because I would have been so annoyed otherwise. But Andy, do you think that was a goal for you?
Of course, it was a goal.
Of course.
I mean, come on. I mean, like the thing was like a training video for VAR. Let's be honest. I know it has its problems, but it's like it was it was a reason why goal line technology was brought in. I mean, to be honest, the level of that goal was so over the line. I mean, I'm assuming that the linesman picked up their Labrador on the way out. They were literally, you'd have to have eyesight problems to have missed that. But it was frustrating. I mean, seeing it live, we were. I mean, is it putting it into this maybe? But Reading stewards weren't. You might have seen it on social media today. Reading stewards weren't exactly very hospitable to us. So we were kind of so far up the stand, you basically needed a telescope to watch what you were doing. But even we could see that it was miles over the line.
Exactly. Hello to Robert and hello to John, who has come into the chat as well. I hope you're both well. For you, Chloe, with that goal, how did you think they missed that? Because it was so far over the line. I was looking at it thinking, how was it not a goal?
Yeah, I couldn't watch it live, so when I watched it after I finished work, I was the exact same. I was like, how have they not noticed that went over the line? It was miles over the line. And I just think this is where games are won and lost, or even drawn, because without that goal being counted, Reading could have gone on and won the game, or we could have drawn the game, or we could have still won the game. But that could have been a decisive goal in the match. And I just think that this is the time now where if more goals are going to be missed, where they are going over the line, but aren't being spotted by the linesman, by the referee, then I think it's going to have to be time where it's goal line technology is going to have to come into it. And I think goal line technology is coming into the Euros, so teams are going to have that experience of it. And I think that's what's needed within the women's game now, because like I said, it's crucial and it can win or lose your games. And that there's a bit where it is ruining the game, because you could see like the disappointment on his face, but the delight that Russo scored, because Honor knew that her goal went in, but it didn't count. So I think it was a hard one for her because she was celebrating, but I read I seen on Twitter that people have commented or said what I think who was it hugging her? Was it Hannah Blundell during the celebrations?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of them captioned it. It was your goal, and I think that's what makes everyone think it was her goal. But obviously, it was Russo's. So I think it's just needed now with the goal line technology to come into the game.
A few more people has entered the chat. Hello to Just Me, hello to TJ, hello to Lanzo, and hello to Vincent. I hope you're all well. Touching on about VAR, hello there to Jade as well. Touching on in terms of VAR, I do question, like, it does need VAR when you look at these kind of instances, but surely the ref has these kind of watches to say that it is going over the line. You hear like a little bit of a noise.
Not in the women's game. Not in the
Not
women's
at all.
game.
Not in the women's game. You don't have the goal line technology, so they don't have the watch.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, if anyone has
though, I question it doesn't even work in the men's game, and the refs are so poor in the women's game. How could it work there?
Well, this is it. I mean, we're maybe circle back away a little bit, but like for those, as you say, for that watch to work, apparently they have to have like I think it's like 8 cameras built into the goal, and it like feeds a laser thing, and it goes over that and the other. And at the minute, you know, let's be honest, we play in a park when we play Everton, for example, and we haven't really got that ability, and that's why obviously they're looking to VAR light possibly in 2023, 2024. But I think we just take it back to first principles, and I think it's just a matter of. I mean, I'm thinking a lot about this because obviously I was there at Reading. It's a hell of a long drive down. I basically hibernated yesterday to get my energy back, and I think the problem is that these referees are too low level for what they're now playing it on Sky Sports. So the issue is that they bottle it. There's no other way of putting it. They've not trained at the level to be on Sky Sports. Now, you see this a little bit sometimes in like Euros and World Cup where you might have, I don't know, a referee from Barbados who last month was reffing 2 men and a dog and is suddenly reffing a group stage game in the World Cup. And they just crumble under the pressure. And there's 2 elements to the goal that I noticed. First of all, the linesman wasn't up with play, which is pretty damn fundamental. So because it wasn't up with play, they didn't get the proper view. And secondly, the referee could see it perfectly. And I don't really know why she didn't give the goal. I know the commentator went for the old, unless they're 100% sure, they can't guess. But how far does that go? You know, I mean, like technically, I've just seen it go across the line, but did it actually go across the line in a parallel universe? Or, you know, how sure do you need to be? You know, I mean, it's one of them where I'd rather have a referee that gives a goal and technically, in the current situation with the lack of technology, gives a goal and it hasn't gone over the line, which is still wrong and causes all the problems and all that kind of stuff, then doesn't give the goal and it clearly went over the line. I mean, we had it a few years ago against City where I think literally the keeper scooped and it was like this, like her arm level, and it was still not given. And I think, you know, obviously we might touch on it in other areas, but like, I mean, I think the main issue is at the end of the day, there's a view of, well, it's a women's game. You know, we can fix it for the Prem, which is the proper football that goes on within the institutions in FIFA and FA. Why do I think that? Well, look at how many laws are trialed in the women's game first. Like they are, like, you know, it's sometimes it's even said as like a turn of phrase. Oh yeah, the academy, the under 23 men's and the women's were trying this. Like they're the same level, and the pinnacle is the men's game, and that's obviously where the money is and where the pressure is. But I think we're gonna have to start having a sea change, and people realize that, you know, then if that was Monday Night Football, never mind. Well, if that was Monday Night Football, we'd be preparing for Carragher's funeral because he would have had a heart attack. Same with Roy Keane. You know, they would have got so angry with whoever was doing it, they would have just had a heart attack. But you know, because it's a women's game, there's the assumption that that's all right. No one really minds. It's all right. And even like with Ref Watch, if you watch a bit of that on Sky, they're not as harsh as with the male refs. They're just a bit like, oh, she could have done better. And I think, as fans, it needs to be the next campaign that we have, which is to push for better referees.
Yeah, we definitely do need to look at better referees, because these referees are absolutely appalling in this game, and it definitely has improved in terms of the actual game itself, but you need to, if you're improving the game, you're putting investment into the game. You see Barclays is putting investment in, seeing Sky, seeing BBC. So put the investment into all of it, the referees included, because I look at some of these decisions, and for people in the comments, some of these referees' decisions, I question it and look at my dean and think, you're a world-class referee, you are.
Oh, that was it. That was a bit of colour as well. For any men's fan, I think is it Michael Oliver, isn't it?
Yeah.
His wife was the referee this weekend. She's changed her surname because she used to get too much abuse. She was down as Lucy Oliver last year. Lucy Maisy, her maiden name, but it was his wife who was the referee this weekend.
I can see where she gets a poor referee in from.
So true.
No, it is true. It's true. I can just love that sort of. Can you imagine that? You come home. How was your day, babe? Well, I started off like this happened. Then I don't know. Was Michael Oliver ref in this weekend? I don't know. I just imagine them talking, over the sort of sandwiches or the sort of like bacon sandwich in the morning about how's your day gonna be.
How's your day? Oh, I didn't give this person a goal. Did you give him a penalty?
Yeah.
Ravi's got a question here regarding West Ham, which I'll go with you, Chloe. Yeah. Any tricky players for West Ham do Man United need to keep an eye on?
Yeah, I think there's quite a few. You've got Tamika Yallop, the Australian. She's a good player. She's very tactical. She moves very quick through play, and she can do long balls, short balls. She can cross it in. She's good in the box. She's one of them. I think another one is Kate Longhurst, who is a long time West Ham fan, and she's played the game a long time. She'll know Katie Selham's roots. She'll know Martha Harris's roots because she's played with them at Liverpool, and she's played against multiple players.
Martha Harris, are we?
No, move on.
I can't see her making a start at all this season now. Can you, Andy?
No, I didn't mean to go across that. I was just bantering. I think maybe that's a surprise. Maybe that's what what West Ham's manager's going to go. Yeah, they won't play Martha, and they're like, oh Christ, maybe that'll do well because they want a plan for her. But no, I agree. And did you mention Adriana Leon as well? Didn't you?
I was gonna. Yeah. And Nita Evans as well.
Yeah, they're not doing too bad either, are they, West Ham, in terms of the league? If you do look at the WSL table in particular, I think they are currently. Let me get this. I'm getting it up. I'm getting it up now, and I think they're currently 8th. Yeah, they're currently 6th at the moment. They've won 2, lost 3 in their last 5. They've got 23 points. So really, this is also. They're also challenging for top 3 realistically because they're not mathematically out of the WSL table at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's a third game. I think someone said as well it's going to be their third game in 6 days as well, which is something that we need to take advantage of because, we might have a break after the game, but we've also should be a lot more refreshed. If you consider when we played, which was blooming crack of dawn on Saturday, and they played yesterday. Was it late? Was it the later game, Claire? I wasn't sure. When was it? Later afternoon?
3 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, we had a bit. We've got a bit of head start on them in that respect.
Yeah.
All right, we've got to do the travel, obviously, coming up from back from Manchester, but you would hope that we're going to be the fresher team.
You would think so. And just as Niall has asked a question here on what are the thoughts on the game overall, and can you see us carrying the momentum coming into the upcoming game against West Ham? And I'll stay with you, Andy, about that one.
I hope so. I think, you know, we were very strong against Reading, and Reading is kind of roughly the same level that West Ham is at. We also don't have that psychological barrier of playing them compared to playing a Chelsea, playing an Arsenal, playing a City. You know, I know on their day they can be strong. They've played well against some of the bigger teams. You know, it's definitely a banana skin, I'm sure. For me, though, I'm hoping that, you know, like to an extent what happened on Saturday, that we continue the momentum about not just scoring one goal and trying to get our goal difference up a bit as well. Because depending on what happens with Chelsea, if they get sanctioned and they have 9-point drop or whatever, you know, all right, we're looking good on goal difference against Spurs, but let's try and get the goal difference a bit more where Chelsea is, just in case we end up in the fight for second. Which, remember, if anyone isn't aware, is an automatic Champions League spot. You know, have a little chat to the other side of Manchester about what happens if you play a qualifying game, you know, against a team, say, like Atletico Madrid in August, and you fall over. Oh, boom, it's gone. There's Champions League gone. So I think if we can, maybe I'm just getting greedy now. I think that second place might be worth a lot more as well. You know, if we can get there.
Yeah, second place, of course, what's going on with Chelsea at the moment, and they could get that point reduction. And if that is the case, we do need to aim for top two. Even top two really isn't mathematically impossible, because we've got a fairly easy run. The only game what I'm truly favouring far out of them all would be Chelsea. And apart from that, I couldn't see no reason why we couldn't get wins from the rest of these games.
2 games I'm worried about: Chelsea and the Old Trafford game.
Oh, yes.
Not because Everton's any good. They're not. They're terrible. I won't beat around the bush. They're awful. But it's Old Trafford. You know, the players are going to know it's going to be embarrassing if we lose against anybody in the first game against Old Trafford with fans. There will be that extra pressure there. I'd like to think teams like players like Jackie Groening, Sing the Brun, Ella Toon, Mary Earps are going to thrive in that pressure, and actually it's going to work for us, and I think it will. But that's the only other banana skin I can imagine, is that if that didn't go the way we wanted, or we got something stupid like a draw, that would make us wobble, in the final run-in. But yeah, if we can beat West Ham tomorrow, you know, puts us in a great position for Old Trafford, beat Everton at Old Trafford. You know, there isn't really, apart from things like Brighton, who in the past have turned over some of the bigger teams just randomly and then decided to be crap again the following week, there isn't really that many possible banana skins left.
For you as well, Chloe, because I'm looking at this, like the lineup what we've had recently. Reading, they've had the same as City's, and of course the previous game before that, after City, that they've had the same lineup. We've had Jackie and Katie Zellum in that pivot, which of course people say doesn't work. I personally don't believe that they are the best two people to go together, but Russo also on the right, and there's been arguments that Russo isn't a winger too. So what do you think has been different with this lineup for you, of why it's been working for Manchester United in these past couple of games compared to the Manchester City game?
I think the reason why it's been working is I think they've been working together on it. I think they've been like, they've had like separate training sessions. So like your midfielders will have worked together, your forwards, your defenders all work together. And then I think if you've seen like in the previous couple of times when they've posted about the training winners, Bo Risa, Jackie Groening and Katie Zellum have all been on the same team. And that just shows that them three can work together. But we don't always see that. And for me, when we do see it on the pitch, it does work. But I also think that we are missing Hayley Ladd. I think she is a crucial player who we are missing in midfield, and I think when she comes back, fingers crossed it soon. I think it'll work even more. And yeah, I completely agree. Like with the way Russo's playing on the right wing, you wouldn't know that's not her natural position. You just think that's her natural position by the way she is playing on that wing. But when she moves on the wing and she switches sides and then she plays through on attack in that forward position, you can see the enthusiasm she's bringing to that team, and she doesn't mind where she's playing. But I do think she's better in the centre forward position, but she does play well on the wing. And also I think the defence is looking good, but bringing Mannion back in maybe I think will be good, because I think that's another leader on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think having Mannion at the back, whether it be with Diane, whether it be with Maria, whether it be with Miller, fingers crossed she's coming back soon, I think we've got 3 good centre pairings there. And I think without that defence, the other positions, we need to work on how they all work together. And I think with the last 2 games, they've gelled. And yeah. I think as well that the tactics that Mark's using has worked, and he's bringing on subs earlier than normal, and I think that's working. He's bringing on the right subs for the right players and taking off players when he knows that he's got games coming up that he's gonna start them players. And I think that's the key, because you want, if you are playing 2-3 games in a row, you want your key players to be rested, to be fit, and to be ready for the midweek game or the cup game, or like depending on when that next game is. So I think it's worked, but do I think it could change against West Ham? Maybe. But do I want it to change? It depends on who he brings in.
Yeah, definitely. And we need to put the lineup what is best for Manchester United. Norman has said Millie is a big miss for us, and I do agree with that. I do miss Millie, but I feel like that little part of my heart just misses Mannion so much, and the presence of her alone, I just really, really miss. I do worry though, like, because she's been out for a while. We're not even hearing anything about Hayley Ladd. We're not hearing anything about Mannion. And I do wonder, how long are these people going to be injured out for? And say, for example, like Mannion and Hayley Ladd come back through, is it going to be more harm than good putting them straight back into the starting 11 lineup? Because I do worry that, because sometimes when you've rushed back through, because we see with Miller, she got Wern back through, like she had 60 minutes and then she came off. So is that going to be the case for Hayley Ladd, and is that going to be the case for Mannion as well? Because we can't really afford for these 2 players to be injured again, if you agree, Ander.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult with Skinner because obviously, I think we can all just be honest about it now. He doesn't give honest answers in relation to what level people are at in relation to injuries. I don't necessarily mind that. It's possibly one of the last bits of the women's game that is different than the men's. You haven't got people sort of hiding in bushes, realizing that Marcus Rashford can run better now, or so-and-so's got back from his injury or whatever. You can relatively keep things quiet at what level, somebody is at in relation to fitness. And as I say, I don't think, he's particularly clean in relation to telling us about what the situation is. But I say I don't mind it, because that helps Man United. It makes it unclear for the opposition, when they're planning the attack. Is Mannion going to be there? Well, if Mannion's going to be there, I'm going to maybe look at a different formation, or I might be looking at a different forward over another forward. But if she's not going to be there, I might not have to sacrifice that and do something else. And if I don't know, obviously it makes it more likely that you could make a mistake that United could capitalise on. So I don't mind that. In relation to rushing them back, I mean, if you look at the evidence of, when Russo obviously was injured as well, previously seasons, and obviously going into this season, almost frustratingly so, Skinner was dogmatic about not pushing them back. Doesn't matter if they look good, if they're looking positive or strong. If you had a plan that she's coming off in 50 minutes, she's coming off at 50 minutes. So I wouldn't worry too much, because I think he's shown that he does do that and he sticks to it irrespective of what's happening on the pitch. As I say, annoyingly sometimes, when sometimes you think, look, I don't care what the plan was, we need her still on, or we need so and so on because we got to win this game. But I think he is very good at not, in the terms of overtraining, isn't it? Which was an issue that Casey had with previous regimes.
Mm-hmm. To highlight Coffee's question, I've not heard about Manchester United getting a stadium, but most likely it's just probably fake news. Have you both heard that about Man United?
Yeah, I saw a tweet. It's one of those excitable journalists who got a bit bored. Basically, there are three options that are being presented to Glazers in relation to, according to the Mirror today, according for the new stadium. One of them includes demolishing Old Trafford and starting again, which is why everyone's going, ooh, but trust me, I think that's what makes a headline. If you read further down, the preferred option is, I've got to get the lingo wrong here, but the stand that overlooks the railway line is building that stand up and out, because they've now got the technology to do that. Whereas previously in the past, the railway line meant that they couldn't expand, and that's what part of the issue was with Old Trafford. That's the preferred option to Glazers, apparently. The other option is just like messing around with the stadium facilities and a bit more seats here and there, but not real. And the third option is to demolish it and start again. But the preferred option is the one over the railway line, which is what I've heard as well. But I've also heard that, I mean, this is very early stages, but that hopefully eventually there is a lot of dead land around that area where they could do a bit of an academy stadium. They could do a smaller,
for the women to play as well.
For the women and for the academy.
I've heard that.
I think that's a lot more likely than them demolishing Old Trafford and turning it into the T-Mobile super duper arena or whatever stupid crap that they could come up with.
You never know. Man City might want to.
You never know.
So don't worry. So what I'm saying is, don't worry. I don't think. I think it's one of the. I mean, there are very few games. I mean, you get used to it, don't you? The Etihad against high, apart from with Main Road, and you have obviously Highbury back in the day for Arsenal, and the Emirates. But I think there are certain stadiums that are so iconic. I mean, to an extent, Newcastle hit this. Mike Ashley tried to turn it into the Sports Direct Arena. He did. Problem was, nobody called it that. Even the commentators used to call it St. James's Park. Yeah. And I think, even United, let's be honest, we have an official coffee, and look it up, we have an official wine of Man United, right? They'd love to sell the stadium rights, but the problem is nobody would use it. So there's no point. So nobody would buy it because it's always going to be Old Trafford. Probably Anfield would be another one. Again, I'm not obviously United fan, sworn enemy of Liverpool, but if I'm honest, that's another iconic stadium which they just couldn't get rid of. That everyone would always be that name.
Here's a point here about Fuso's game time. We haven't seen too much of Fuso. We all love Fuso, but another thing, we haven't seen too much of Borisa recently neither. She hasn't been able to get into the team, with Jackie being into the team, Zelen being in the team, Tooney being in the team. And I feel like Fuso, she can be a game changer when she is used properly. I know we lost for that Chelsea game, but it felt like she still put that 100% effort in, and she still felt like she was quite strong when she was on the pitch. Same with the Arsenal game, because it was the Conti Cup. Kirsty Hansen got injured and Fuso came on to replace her. You know that Fuso, if she's used properly, she is a great substitute. And same with Bo Risa, she brings that different kind of creativity compared to the other midfielders we do have at Manchester United. Not criticising none of the other midfielders, by the way, because they all have different aspects of the game, but Bo Risa has different kinds of creativity compared to the likes of Jackie Groden, compared to the Katie Zellum, compared to the Ella Toons. She just brings that a little bit more differently, and I do want to see a little bit more of a Bo Risa, Jackie kind of style of play. For you though, Chloe, what do these two players bring for you in the team?
I completely agree with what you said there, Maisy. They're the game changers. Fuso brings pace to the team. She brings the craftiness to the team, and she brings them short, quick passes as well. She brings the 1-2s within the midfield, and she can get the ball from one side to the other side, and then it can come back to her, and she can do it again. And I think just the way Fuso plays, I think that's what we need. And whether it be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that's the amount of time she needs. But not when Mark was bringing her on for the last 5 minutes. She's not gonna change the game within 5 minutes. She is a game changer, and she is one of them that will be a game changer if you give her the time, if you give her the 15 or 20 minutes. And the same with Bo Risa, because Bo Risa is a perfect starting 11. She can start the game and she can finish it because she can play the 90 minutes. But she's also, as we've called a few players, a super sub, where she can come on off the bench and be that impact sub and get them goals, get the quick play like Fuso, and she can get the attacking building up. She can bring the crosses. She can bring the aggression as well, in which we don't see a lot of through the midfield. But she's also one of the most tactical and the most physical players that we've got at United, and bringing them two on shows that we've got the depth in the squad, that we've got the depth in the team. And whether it be that we start Fuso in cup matches and bring her on off benches in the league, then that's going to work. Bo Risa, starting her in the starting 11 in the league, bringing her on off the bench in cup matches, she can be that impact sub. They can both be, and there is a lot of them that is also impact subs, but them two are definitely.
Yeah, definitely 100%. And I feel like at the moment as well, Tooney seems a little bit tired. In the game, she seems like she's quite overrun. She's still only very young as well, and she still needs to have a bit of a rest. She hasn't really had a rest at Manchester United this season. She's playing for her international team as well, and I know we've got over a week break, over a week rest, but it's still good to try someone maybe a bit different, maybe put Tooney as a sub, so it's just a little bit less pressure onto her. Maybe that could be a good idea. Put Bo Risa as that number 10 role, because I can see Lanzel in the chat said that he liked to see Bo Risa in the midfield there as well. But TJ's made a great point here about Thor and Diane. They made it a bit of less of a problem without Hayley Ladd, and I feel like they have been working very well defensively. For me, I do think Maria can be a little bit sloppy at times, but I think she is still a great centre-back. She has stepped up to the plate when she has needed to step up to the plate at Manchester United. She knows that she's, at this moment in time, she is a crucial player in that starting 11 squad, and she hasn't done anything to me at this moment in time where I can say that she needs to have a couple of games dropped. I think she's been quite well, if you agree with that, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two different elements there. I mean, the problem about not having Hayley Ladd is the effect it has on midfield, not necessarily the effect it has on defence. It's not that she's defensive, she's physical, and that's the difference. I mean, for and Diane, I think Diane has been a great, probably the best buy that we've had so far. based on the fact that Sigma Brun is still injured and hasn't yet really got going out of the sort of players that we brought in January. Because she's hit the ground running and she brings a lot of passion to the to the role. Four is a little bit. I'm not too honest these days. She's a little bit like the Katie Zellum of defense. She'll do fantastically at one point, like the goals from the corner, and she'll do something that looks utterly asinine the following week. Like that goal where it hit her face and went in against Chelsea in the 6-1 defeat. But I mean, obviously, the whole point of Skinner and his backroom staff is to try and reduce the number of silly mistakes and to increase the sort of things that we like to see. And I think she's definitely benefiting from game time. She's benefiting from being comfortable because Mannion isn't available. She knows she's going to start. And Diane is great. 2 issues I have with her. One of them she can't do anything about is her age. So she isn't going to be there for that long. But hopefully she can impass some of her experience upon to the rest of the team. Secondly, the song isn't just a good song because it sings well. She does do crunching tackles. And like we opened the show with, in relation to these referees, one of these days we're going to get caught out with a Muppet is going to give a red because she does give very strong tackles. So maybe in that respect, Diane does help with Lady Lad because she gives that physical tackle. And as a defender, you would hope that she's a little bit more savvy than a midfielder in relation to giving penalties away. But she is very, very strong in the tackle. So it is worrying because sometimes you get the right ref and they understand it. Other times they just blow. And so far, we've just been all right.
Mm-hmm. And Landell actually did mention it too in the chat about Thor potentially being a defensive midfielder, perhaps alongside, for instance, Katie Zellum. So it frees a little bit more space for her. What do you think about that for both of you, in your opinion?
I think the problem we've got is this isn't FIFA. So we were saying about Russo. She's an actual human being, and she's going to get annoyed and she's going to leave if we're not careful. And I would say the same ultimately with Borisa, but it's a bit different because she is a passionate United fan. And it goes back again to that old canard about Zellum being undroppable. Now, at the minute, I wouldn't drop her. Just to be clear, she's playing brilliantly. She's played fantastically. But there was a long period of time earlier in the season where it would have benefited her to have some time on the sidelines. And that's the time where those two would have got more games. They would have felt more part of the squad. And I do worry that, Ivana Fuso could be Ebony Salmon 2.0 if we're not careful. She could go and then be an absolute baller and light it up somewhere else, and then she's gone and we haven't got her. So that's where Skinner does need to earn his money. I think that Fuso should play, but probably won't play against West Ham. I think she'd be fine, as you say, to start Tooney on the bench to bring Fuso in that position. But certainly you would hope that she'll get put on as a super sub at sort of 60 minutes in. Because again, the problem we've got is that, there's a load of players there that have got options and that have got to be kept happy. Zellum's a captain, she's there forever. We understand that now. I'm dealing with it. Groningen is possibly again got a 1-year option and is quite a big name, and half of Manchester United Twitter is going to die if Groningen leaves because of the way life is. Borisa is a great player, but again, I don't know if we've given her enough game time. So I think if the plan we're playing for in midfield is that you make even less spots available for the actual midfielders, and at the minute, Skinner's going to struggle to keep them all happy.
Yeah, we've got so many midfielders and they're all stacked at the moment. Like, I remember at the start of the season, I was looking at it and I think we even had this conversation like, where's all this midfield going to go? There's going to be people who's going to be unhappy because there's going to be these players who's going to be undroppable. And then if these become undroppable, what's going to happen to the rest of these? Are they just going to be used as a substitute? And we all know, as Chloe touched on, that Matt Skinner isn't always brilliant in terms of the substitutes. It could wait for the last 5 minutes of the game and 5 minutes for the game, it's not good for the player. It's not good for the development, especially if they're young. And a lot of the players like to play international football. I always say, though, international football is an award. If you play good at club football, it's an award. But if you are a good player, but you're not given that opportunity, and because of that, that's tarnishing your international football, it's quite devastating to know about as well, to be honest. And maybe you do look at areas such as the recruitment sector at Manchester United and think, well, why so many midfielders being scouted? Why aren't we looking at these areas what need to be attentionized of the striker role, which was in the summer? I know we got Martha Thomas and we had Russo, but we were still injury prone. We know that Russo did have bad injuries. We know Martha Thomas, she isn't her injury record isn't brilliant either. Centre back position, before Diane, there wasn't that many centre backs at all. There was 3 centre backs, so 2 got injured. Who's going to be playing centre back? Hayley Ladd, who's the only DM that we had. Or what if she was injured? Who'd be playing there then? Are we going to have to go to 3 at the back? So you look at that and think, is this even poor recruitment? What, in your opinion, for you, Chloe?
Yeah, 100% agree with that, Maisy. I think if you've only got so many players, do you look to your development squad? Do you bring players up from there? But how, like at the start of the season, how many games did they have before we even started, or before we started getting injuries? You can't, like, if Mark hadn't seen any of the players play in the dev squad at the start of the season, would he have brought some up from having a chat with Casey or with Charlotte here about the players that can come up? Because I think if there's some players in the development squad that are ready to come up, then I think we've got them players. But at the start of the season, I don't think we did. And yeah, it could be possibly down to the recruitment process, because obviously we lost Casey, and what we read on Twitter was that it was Casey's idea of which players come in. Mark had no opinion on the players that came in. He didn't have the time to get the players in. He didn't have the budget to get them in. So, like, if Mark was already announced straight after Casey had left, would that have changed our recruitment? Would that have gone with a striker straight away? Would that have got us another centre back straight away? Would it have got us a defensive mid again? Because they're the areas we have recruited in January, albeit on deadline day. But we know full well we were pursuing a striker, and obviously we know it fell through. But then we ended up getting Boone on transfer deadline day. We ended up getting Diane Caldwell transfer deadline day, and we ended up Jade Moore. And yeah, Jade Moore's not played yet, but she'll be raring to go. She'll be ready to go.
And she's whether it be,
she's a defensive midfielder, so she plays in the position that Hayley Ladd can play in. But she's that attacking midfielder that will just go forward. You don't have to play her in the defensive mid. You can play her on the wing. You can play her in centre mid. She is a key that now that Hayley Ladd's injured, we've got a backup for Hayley Ladd. And yet, I'll touch on a point that you made before, Maisy, about Fall playing as a defensive mid. I think she did when she played for Chelsea. I think she did play a couple of times as a defensive mid, because obviously she had Millie Bright and Magdalena Eriksson in centre back. So how she played was in defensive mid. So I think she can play there, and I think if we have to, and we get Mannion back, and it's Mannion and Diane in centre back, maybe bring Fall into that position until Jade Moore's fit and can play, because obviously we're not going to rush her back, because we don't want want her injury to come back again, and we don't want Mannion's injury to come back again. But at least if we take Mannion off, 4 can get pushed back into midfield, and we can bring on that other midfielder. So I think we've done well in in some parts of the recruitment process, but I also think we left it too late for the recruitment process, because I think if we brought Diane straight away in summer, then I think it would have been even better than seeing her have only 6 months on a contract, and I'm thinking, is she going to renew because of Champions League? If we get that Champions League spot, will she renew just to play Champions League for us? Or is she going to go back and play in America? We just don't know. It's a 6-month contract, and I think a lot of us fans now are thinking, Mark, get that contract out, get that year for her, get that contract signed by Diane, because I think she is one that we do need to definitely keep, or at least get the experience from her and pass it on to other players, and now also think about centre backs. If we're not keeping Diane, think of a backup, a couple of centre backs that can back up our defenders, because that might be an area where we're gonna win or lose the game, because Mannion could get problems with her knee again, like she has done in this season, and can have her out for a couple of months, and we don't know why she's out. But then you've got Miller, who's been out, so it's only leaving 4 in the back, and you've not got that backup unless you bring through the development squad through the devs, and you bring some of them players through, which I think some of them do deserve to be brought through. Yeah. So it's a hard one. It is.
It is a hard one, and I'd also like to see Diane with a 1-year contract. And the age is on the bad side in terms of Diane, because she isn't too long until she really does retire early. But I think she does bring that bit of leadership to Manchester United, and she loves the club, and that is a thing what you want at Manchester United. You want someone who loves the club. You don't want someone to come for the wrong reasons. And we know that when Diane signed that loan deal, she signed for the right reasons, because she wanted to play for Manchester United, which was her childhood club. In terms of Ravi's question, which I will finish on, Manchester United play attacking football. The fullbacks do play on a high line, so they do go quite high up the pitch. They go quite high, I'd say, could be turned into like midfielders at some point, get quite a few crosses in. They're both quite attacking minded, and I think Matt Skinner he does well in terms of the press when he can, when we are up for that as well. And I think the attacking football, that is what we really play. I think, though, he can switch it up when it comes to the top 3, the big 3. He does come across as a counter-attacking football. We've seen it for Arsenal, and it has worked for Manchester United, so I know that he can adapt when it needs to be adapted. But in terms of the West Ham, I don't believe we should go as a counter-attacking football, and we should play the exact same as how we played against Reading, which I stayed before, the attacking-minded football, possession-type football, with our fullbacks playing high up the pitch as well. But before we do wrap up, Andy, how are you feeling about Matt Skinner? The unreliable boyfriend?
Well, I mean, I don't know, people might have seen on social media that we sort of ran into it. Well, I say we. Nat ran into him at the services, and we got a bit of an insight in relation to why he didn't really bring any more players on against Reading. He was talking about the height difference, about them being a tall team, and how he wanted to just see it out a little bit. So there is that element there that does worry me, because you can see it out against Reading, but other teams we can get caught out. I wasn't sure what you were going to say in relation to scorers, but I do worry about the fact. I worry about getting a clean sheet again. I think Hannah has had a really rough. She had a great game against Leicester. She had a very poor mistake again against Reading, and a very poor mistake against Reading, and a very poor mistake against City. Now, I'm sure that Skinner's working with her, and I'm sure that we're getting there. But I just want to see the end of those silly mistakes, to be honest. I'm sure she does as well. With Skinner, I mean, I think that, obviously it is starting to fall into place. If we can get top 3, then obviously, he's a superstar. He came in very late in the season. He got us top 3. We're into Champions League. We get all these different recruitments. Ultimately, the sort of play about Skinner is yet to be written, and the first act ends in May against Chelsea. And if we get that 3rd place, then he's going to look great. If we don't get that 3rd place and we lose players because of the fact he doesn't drop certain players and he plays more players, then it's going to be a bit of what's going on again. But I'm confident we're going to get top 3.
Yeah, I'm confident we're going to get top 3, and we just need to push and push and push like we have been doing to get that top 3. And who knows if Chelsea does get that sanction, which is obviously a shame for the club to have that, but we could potentially aim for top 2 then. But we just need to look at what's ahead in terms of our games. Doesn't matter about the clubs around us, and we just need to aim for them 3 points. But thank you, and thank you, Chloe, for both coming on. When you shout out your socials, also as well shout your score prediction. We'll go with you first, Andy. Thank you so much for coming on. What's your socials and your score prediction?
Yeah, well, obviously, you've got my personal Twitter page there, which is increasingly getting more dominated with Man United content, which I think is how it starts, isn't it, Maisy? Which is at HA_87, but obviously, as I say, it is my personal Twitter page, so you do see other things on there as well. Obviously, got a shout out Only One United talking Reds on Friday night. Me and Maisy again are going to be on with, well, one guest is confirmed. Well, hopefully we'll get another one as well. Should be an interesting discussion as always. And we always look at you guys in the comments as our additional panelists as well. So, get in the chat and we'll respond to you just like Maisy does on this channel. And I think we're all looking forward to that Friday at 7:00 as well.
Yes. Only One United. The description, the link for the description is in the link below. So go and check Only One United. And if you haven't already, go and give it a subscribe. Me and Andy's here on Friday. More talk about the Manchester United women team. And go and check out the other guest who's going to be on Friday. It's going to be a brilliant show. Chloe, thank you so much for coming on. Would you like to shout out your socials and the score prediction as well?
I forgot that, didn't I? Sorry. 3-0. 3-0. Because we're going to exercise the ghost of silly mistakes, and we're going to do what we should have done on Saturday and score 3 and not let one in. Sorry, go on, Chloe.
My personal Twitter's there, Chloe Riley 14. Thanks for having me on again, Maisy. Always a fantastic show to be part of. You're smashing it.
Thank you so much.
And I think my score prediction will be 3-0 or 4-0.
Perfect.
To United, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both Andy and Chloe's Twitters are in the description below, as well as Only One United. Go and check that channel out. Brand new channel, and it is quality channel. I'm going to go for a 2-0 for Manchester United. Got to go with a clean sheet, so I'm going to be less negative, but I got the score right last week.
You did.
I did. I got the score right, so I'm happy in a way. I got it right. As much as I obviously didn't want a goal to be conceded, I'm glad I got it right. I'm not bad at predicting, so I'm happy about that way. But yeah, I'll be next live myself. I will be doing a show with John Sinclair, who's in the chat. If you haven't noticed him yet, we'll be doing a review on the Champions League games from this week, and I'll be looking at trying to do another show sometime this week. Perhaps a debate show. I'll just see on who I can get on, and we'll go from there. But thank you, and thank you, Chloe, for coming on, and we'll see you all soon. Goodbye for now.